Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we're taking a look at another deck profile and some gameplay for a deck that might interest you for the upcoming Into the Inklands set. I put out a poll on the channel to see how many games people wanted to see of this, because I prepared 9. Because I liked all the games, I thought it showed a good variety, wins and losses, but I thought maybe it was a bit too much, so I put a poll out asking you guys if what your opinion was, and quite overwhelmingly my community has said just bring it. I can understand that there was one comment that said, oh, maybe cut out the games that are against like the same game against the same deck and the same person, which is something to consider, and if lots more people want that, then I could do that, but I've kept a couple of those in because it shows a win, it shows a loss, and the deck working and not working, which I think is important to show. So I do have 9 games to show you. It's split across 28 minutes of footage. Again, it's all, as always, it's hypercut, sped up, and there'll be timestamps for you to skip to the parts that you find the most interesting. But yeah, I am going to include all those 9 games, and in that interest, I'm going to try not to waffle on too much. But a couple of bits of admin / just a couple of stories to tell you. The first thing that I want to share with you, for no reason whatsoever, because it's got nothing to do with Lorcana, but if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you'll know that I live at home as a full-time carer for my mum. She's 73, and she's been an avid gamer. Like, I don't think before I was born, but certainly from my childhood onwards, she took an interest in, first of all, playing Sega games with me, and then she started picking up my Game Boy and playing games that I had. The first game I ever got for any console ever was I got a Game Boy Pocket with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, goated game. And she tried that out and she fell in love with it, and she's gone on to play every Zelda game that I've played, which is most of them. I never played Skyward Sword. That's one that I haven't played, and I know it was remade for the Switch a couple of years ago, but I haven't got around to that one. And a couple of the older ones I haven't played, like the one with this Four Swords Adventures, but I've played Ocarina of Time, Link's Awakening, Twilight Princess, best Zelda game, don't at me, Majora's Mask, and yeah, I've played a lot of them, and so has my mum. And 2 years ago, she started playing Breath of the Wild, and like most people that play that game that are Zelda fans, mind blown. And she did it all on her own, the whole game up to Ganon. Couldn't beat him. She's got arthritis as well, which doesn't help with obviously holding a Switch. And she tried and couldn't beat him, and she wouldn't. In the past, there's been times where she'd like, Could you just beat this boss for me so I can move on? But she knew it was the final boss, and she was adamant she was going to do it on her own, but she couldn't do it. She got disheartened and she gave up, which was really heartbreaking. But she picked it back up again a few days ago, and yesterday she beat the boy Ganon. So can I get some hype in the comments for Mama Villain, because I'm proud of her, man. Let's talk about a couple of other things. It was a couple of other things. It is a wet, rainy day in England, but exciting. I'm recording this on the 22nd of February, Thursday. Tomorrow, I'll be heading to the Disney store in London to get my first product, and then potentially going to a sealed event in the evening. And then Saturday, I'm definitely going to a sealed box event at Dark Sphere. If I've got any UK brethren that are watching this and are going to be there, please come say hi. If you're a viewer and you recognise me, I'd be honoured and delighted. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Another thing I want to say is, at time of recording, we are at 1,948 subscribers. So close to just 50 away from 2,000. And now my mind is blown. I still struggle accepting that I still have an audience. I really do. But you guys have decided to include me in your Lorcana journey, so let's get it, man. But yeah, thank you so much for the support, and hey, if you're one of those that watches my channel regularly, but you haven't quite gotten to the commitment part of hitting subscribe, just keeping you, man. Let's make this a permanent thing, yeah? I need the commitment from you to help your boy get to 2,000 subscribers. Last couple of things to mention before we go into the video topic in question. Very recently, I only saw this a few hours ago, at an event in France, a picture was released of the new box that's got the new starter kit that was mentioned in Ravensburger's last sort of OP announcement, talking about the with The box for newcomers. I can't talk at all. The box for newcomers to be able to start off with a smaller deck, and as you play, you earn more to add to it and learn the game. And this box, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, we're getting alternate arts for Detective Mickey, Elsa, Stitch, and Maleficent. And I was all ready to speculate that in this video. And then, literally about 10 minutes before I started recording, I saw this post by the Illuminators. If you don't know the Illuminators, you should absolutely be subscribed to them. Pillars of the Lorcana community. And they do a lot of work with a lot of the artists, so I very much trust them. I'm not sure what their source is. They didn't state it, but again, I trust the Illuminators. They know what they're talking about. And they said it has been confirmed that the cards in this Lorcana product do not have new exclusive artwork, which I think is a bit of a shame. I was really hyped for that when I saw this box. Still a possibility that we end up getting some reprints of some sought after cards. I saw Lorcana Goons talking about, yo, are we going to get that Maleficent Dragon or that Beast Tragic Hero reprint, which is something I speculated when they first announced this box. That might be something they do. But yeah, we don't know a lot more other than that, but certainly some fantastic art on the box. And one more thing to briefly cover, I don't see the point in doing a whole video about it, but some of you have probably already seen the discovery of a new infinite loop. To go for to win in one turn. It requires a lot of setup. It requires you having 2 different Pride lands on the field. You need a Simba bodyguard, or to be fair, it could be any prince or king, but this seems to be the easiest way to do it. You need a prince or king at both of them. They can't both be at the same Pride lands. There needs to be one at each. You need a Merlin shapeshifter on the field, whose ability reads whenever a card is returned to your hand, he gains 1 lore. So you achieve this board state. This video is courtesy of content creator Justuncase, who will be linked down below. But yeah, they did a demonstration of this, so I thought it was better just to show you it this way. If you have this board state out, move to your 2 Pride lands, so you're now paying 2 less for any character you play, and you just loop these bouncing Madam Mim snakes, get Merlin up to higher and higher lore, and you can see, I won't show you all of this, there's no point, but you can see the point. You're not paying anything to do this loop. Merlin's going up an extra lore every turn, and you just need to get to 20 or whatever amount that you need to win the game. So thought that was quite interesting. It's always cool to discover these new infinite loops. Like last season we got the one with Dr. Facilier from first chapter, the one that returns characters to your hand when they're banished in challenges, LeFou, and the Madam Mim Floodborn little loop that we had there, and now we've got another one. So it's fun, it's cool, don't expect it to work very often. It takes a lot of setup, and I don't think it's going to be that reliable, but I mean, it's Amber Amethyst, so it can run a lot of other cards that are proven to be good. But yeah, this specific combo, I wouldn't expect to get it off a lot, but I thought it was definitely worth highlighting it because it is cool. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, so let's get on and take a look at the deck, but not before mentioning Into the Inklands. Are you looking to get some singles? Are you looking to buy specifically the card you want? Is that you? If that's you, you know what you should do. Check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. Alright, let's get on. We've got some Ruby Sapphire locations. I've called this Skate Park. Now, full disclosure straight away, this is not my deck. This deck was built by someone called Pascal. So I wanted to build a location deck, and I knew I wanted to go Ruby Sapphire for the ramp, and the fact that Ruby Sapphire have some really good locations. So I just started looking on Dreamborn at other people that had uploaded that. I normally start that way when I'm building a deck. I find a template and then change it to meld what I think would work the most. And I found this deck by someone called Pascal. So credit where it is due. It was them that created this exact list. And I looked through it and I was like, I actually really like all of this. There's nothing I immediately want to change. And I thought at the very least, let's play a few games with it to work out what I might want to change. So we're heavy on the locations. We've got 4 copies of Montanui, which is a 2-drop, gives you 1 passive lore gain, and has the ability where if a character is banished, it's added to your Inkwell, so contributing towards our ramp. We've also got Mukduk Manor, which is just a big, bulky location, gives you 2 passive lore gain and 9 willpower, is big, and it's inkable, 4 cost. We've also got Agrabah, which is a 3 cost inkable, 5 willpower, and gives 2 passive lore gain, and the RLS Legacy, just as a 2-drop, 2 count, sorry. It is a 4 cost uninkable, 8 willpower, but if you have a character there, they gain evasive. It costs 3 to move a character there, but if you already have a character there, then it only costs 1 to move others there. So we're going to use these locations to basically just be very mid-range aggro. All these decks that are playing, be prepared, grab your swords, all these chip and ping damage cards, we don't care about them at all. Obviously we have some characters that care about them, but not a really high count, to be honest. So a lot of those removal cards of characters are just not doing anything against us, and a couple of these locations are outside of Maui range as well. A couple of them will go down to him, but of course you only need to worry about that if you're up against Ruby. And just from playing it, I am just finding that most decks are not equipped to be able to handle this many big bulky locations and keep themselves in the game, because they're constantly having to challenge and like get rid of them, and you're just making passive lore gain, and you're trying to control the board all the way. We've got 4 copies of Grandma Tala, who is obviously another character that we can put down on turn 2 and is going to help accelerate our Inkwell. Also, she can sing 1 jump ahead, so that's interesting. We've got 4 Flavisham for the card draw with some items that we'll go through in a minute. 4 Nick Wilde to recycle our Porpsicles, and he's a good target. Well, to be fair, as is Flavisham and Maui. We've got 3 copies of How Far I'll Go, which is a song that they can sing. Also 4 Mauis here strictly to control the board. If a character comes out that we don't want, that's threatening our locations, or is just questing too high, we're just using Maui to control the board. We've got 4 Develop Your Brain, which I do, at first I was like, I feel like this could be cut, but as I played with it, I do feel like they're important, because sometimes you do need to find the Maui, the Be Prepared, whatever it, the Launch, the Flavisham, whatever it might be, to keep yourself in the game. And if you miss Porpsicle, then you're not doing anything turn 1. So I do like to Develop Your Brain. 2 copies of Launch, which reads banish chosen item of yours to deal 5 damage to chosen character. So this is going to deal with those tragic hero beasts, the Jafars, our long list of everything with 5 or less willpower. This is going to be an easy way to remove them. We've got 3 Teeth and Ambitions, which as well as being inkable, is just chip damage. You can deal with the 2 and 3 drop Jafars, good against aggro. We can pair it nicely with Grandma Tala to take out a character plus accelerate Grandma Tala into our Inkwell. 1 jump ahead for additional ramp. Also, How Far I'll Go, 3 counts. The newest song, 4 cost uninkable. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand and the other into your Inkwell, face down and exerted. So again, we're ramping while finding the pieces that we need. Plus we have 4 cost and above characters that can sing this quite willingly. Flavisham, normally you're wanting to quest to remove items, but if you don't, so you can draw, but if you don't have items, this is perfectly reasonable. Nick Wilde and Maui are really good targets for this, so love it. Be Prepared, just helping us control the board if our opponent starts to get too carried away and puts down all these characters, because we've got a big field of locations. Bye-bye. 4 Porpsicles for the card draw, 4 Fishbone Quill for the acceleration of our Inkwell. We're also running 2 copies of Heart of Tafiti, 3 cost inkable with Create Life, which is exert and pay 2. Put the top card of your deck into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So it's another way that we're ramping. We don't need it doesn't take away from our hands, because obviously it's straight off the deck, and it's another item that can work with Flavisham. 2 copies of Vault Door, which gives resist 1 to your locations and your characters at locations. I'll be honest, in my games, this is probably the only card that hasn't really come up useful yet, but it does create a couple of interesting interactions. It keeps Flavisham out of Maui one-shot range for interest. For example, not interest, man, words are hard. Unfortunately, our Agrabah and our Montanui still only have 6, so Mauis do take them on, but still, if they're trying to deal with these locations with multiple characters, then it's really going to upset their maths. So yeah, there is reason to have this, but I've not found much use yet, and I could understand it being a cut. And then our stadiums here. So yeah, the idea is just spend our first few turns ramping as much as we can, and then from turn 4 really is either potentially a Maui if you really need it. If you played 1 jump ahead on 2, then you could do turn 4 Maui, which sometimes you do need to just remove a threat. But really we want to be putting down Flavisham, be drawing, dealing with things on the board as they come up with Maui, Teeth and Ambitions, Launch, and Be Prepared, and then just extending out our locations and just having massive lore gain at the beginning of our turn. And again, if they try and extend back into it, then hopefully we've got more copies of Be Prepared and stuff just to be able to answer them and just win the race in the long run. We'll talk about some considerations. There's a new Hey, who whenever he moves to a location, your opponent loses a law. So this is going to be nice for helping you keep ahead in the race. It's nice and cheap and inkable. Queen of Hearts, good for aggro, where again, we've already got Teeth and Ambitions, but if you feel like you need more. Mini, I think, is a bit of a problem for this deck. We don't really have evasive answers other than our hard things like launch and be prepared. Other than that, we don't have a whole lot that can deal with evasive, so you might want to find a way of dealing with that, whether that's with your fidget, or maybe you just play your own copies of Minnie Mouse, and that along with Teeth and Ambitions can do the job. Judy Hops, I think, is going to become important. Flutes, you'll see match where I face flutes. Also for the mirror, removing the fishbone quill. We don't know if things like Sorcerer's Spellbook are going to stay relevant in format, but they might do, so this is a meta response. You could also go with things like Mickey and Winnie the Pooh for additional ramp. I've not felt the need. You don't really want to rely on characters. We're running certain characters that we need to control the board and to draw cards, but our ramp is all in our action cards, so I've not felt the need for these, but you could if you want. Prince Eric is a pretty good shout. Another card that's going to help you control the board. Works really well with Teeth and Ambitions. He quests high, and he can sing How Far I'll Go. You could go with Belle. To be honest, you do ramp well, but most of the games I've not been at 10 ink, and I've not felt the need to go up to that high. If you really like Belle, by all means, but again, you've not put out a lot of characters with this deck where they've needed to use hard removal, maybe for a Maui and a Flavisham, but they can also be dealt with just by challenging. So if they are holding all those removal cards, then Belle probably isn't sitting around for too long. You could make an argument for Jim Hawkins. This is the one deck that I've played where I've actually felt like Jim would help, so I wouldn't blame you for putting that in. There's also Queen of Hearts for the extra draw, Cogsworth just because ward and giving resist, although not something I would probably go with first. It's an option, but if you went for a higher character package, then maybe. Hydra's good against steel. There's also obviously things like Tremaine and Medusa for the removal. I think Scar, there's a really good case for adding to this. In some situations, he's a mini be prepared, and again, you can always ink these uninkables with Fishbone Quill. Some people are playing versions of this deck that are based around the new Grand Martala, which might be the better way to go. I'm only going to show you it's 9 games, 5 opponents. But in my testing, I came up against this Grand Martala version of the deck 3 times and didn't concede a game to it at all. That might mean nothing. I might have just got lucky, but for what it's worth, the version I'm running seems to be running better than that. You could go for Dragon's Fire instead of Launch. It costs more, but less conditional on your items, and something's just got to go. There's I've Got a Dream to ready characters at locations, but again, we're not playing a huge... The emphasis isn't really on our characters. Kind of on Flavisham, and Maui's just there to be removal, so it's not something I'd go with. You could fly also to get around the evasive. Let It Go, I wouldn't play the Hades unless you really want a big body count, but then I think you're going against what this deck is really taking advantage of, and that's the fact that against decks that are running all the high counts of Dragon's Fires and Hades and removal cards aren't getting a lot of value from you. So I prefer to go with the Let It Go. Shield of Virtue and Scepter of Arendelle are considerations because there's a couple of times where I found myself really wishing I had another lower cost item. If you don't have your Porps, sometimes you have to give up your Fishbone Quills, which doesn't always feel good. There's also the Heart of Tafiti, but that's probably one of your higher conditions for a cut. So you could make an argument for wanting more lower cost items. There's a Scepter of Arendelle, but again, characters aren't our emphasis. I'd be more inclined to go with the Shield of Virtue, but be my guest with whatever your taste is. Maui's Fishhook is one of my favourite new cards in the game, and I'm going to put my flag in that this is in my updated Ruby Amethyst deck, and I think it's so good. Not necessarily for this deck, but you could if you want this to be an evasive answer. And Dinner Bell, which... I don't know, probably not, but it is another way to get ourselves card draw. We tend to ramp quite well to a degree where you could feasibly put this down on turn 4 or 5 and still have enough ink to immediately use the ability. Plus, at the end of the day, Flavisham can banish it to draw cards, and we can ink it with Fishbone Quill. So it makes it easier to warrant some of these uninkable spots with Fishbone Quill. But yeah, that's some options for you to potentially try out yourself. I've only played with the build that I've shown you, but let's jump in and show you some games. Alright, game one, we're up against some Sapphire Steel. We're going first. I want to find ramp stuff straight away. Throw the Vault Door, I could have kept the Montanui. Definitely want to get rid of the How Far I'll Go. Maui and Flavisham I find are quite important pieces. But again, you'll see some inconsistency with my mulliganing in these first few games. Because again, I was trying out new things, working out the deck, working out what was more important to hold. So there are a couple of games where I'm inconsistent with my mulligan priorities. But overall, I find Flavisham and Maui are important to keep, and it can develop your brain in case I don't find the Porpsicle, so I can find Fishbone Quill or whatever it is. We do find the Porpsicle, which is nice. We get rid of that develop your brain, throw down the Porp, draw a card and pass. They ink a Judy Hops, throw down their own Porpsicle, draw a card and pass back to us. We draw Teeth and Ambitions, go straight into the Inkwell, and we just pass. Unfortunately, we missed Grand Martala. They ink a Tinkerbell, and down goes Prince Eric. We ink a Flavisham because we've got the double. I could have also gone with the Heart of Defeaty, but I want to be able to ramp as much as I can, and you don't necessarily need two Flavishams. I do choose to instantly throw away one of my Be Prepared with the Fishbone Quill, which never feels great because you want them, but again, I'm up against Sapphire Steel and I'm expecting to see a wheel, so I feel a little more warranted on throwing one away, but sometimes you just have to because you need to ramp. They ink a Cogsworth, excuse me, throw down a Benger to throw away my Fishbone Quill, so sucks, but at least I'm glad I managed to get a bit of ramp off of it. They quest with their with their Prince Eric. We ink the Vault Door. Down comes Maui to deal with that Eric. I could have gone Flavisham, but I'd rather deal with these characters and not having them be questing for free. They ink, tink, play Smash, and then follow up with Fire the Cannons. All that to get rid of my Maui, so I'm probably quite happy with that, to be honest. They quest up with Benger up to 3. We draw Porp. We throw down our Flavisham, banishing our Porp to draw 2 more cards. Throw down another Porp to draw an additional card. Ink that Grand Martala and pass over. We're getting to that point where I want to put down this location. I can sit, like, obviously I don't want to throw away Be Prepared. I can quite reasonably put down the Heart next turn as well, because I'm probably banishing the Porpsicle to draw more cards, so it's nice to have another item, and I'd like to get down this this location if I can. So we pass to them, they throw down a Fishbone Quill, immediately tilt it to ink something. They quest up with Benger, pass over to me, we draw Tala, we quest up with Flavisham, throw away the Ice Cream, draw another couple of cards. So just this, like, this deck doesn't have a lot of card draw, but Flavisham can just get you so much. I do kind of feel like this deck lives and dies by Flavisham though, that's my only main criticism. But yeah, we managed to get mad value. We throw down McDuck Manor. We ink the Tala. No, we don't. We choose not to. We play the Porpsicle. I think I do end up... No, I throw away the Heart of Defeaty. Yep, fair enough. Oh, yeah, so I can extend this way and put her straight down. Plus, she's a good combo target with Teeth and Ambitions if they choose to put down a character that has 2 or less. Or, to be honest, even if I wanted to, this means that I can take Benger out with Flavisham if I was so inclined. But yeah, it's another character on board that's going to help me quest. They throw down a Porpsicle, draw a card. They tilt their Fishbone Quill. They did go to time here. They spent ages trying to work out what they wanted to throw away. But obviously, Hypercut as always. They throw down a Bell, who is not getting value yet. But they just want to get it down, and again, they're probably not too far. Well, they're not too far from 10, probably at least 2 turns, but Bell could potentially help them ramp more. I'm expecting this last card in their hand to be a wheel, to be honest. But yeah, they pass over to me. So this could be you could argue this is a misplay that I make on this turn. We start with by questing Flavisham, throw away our Porpsicle, which even that is maybe risky if I'm expecting the wheel. So a questionable play. But we throw down the Mao, we get rid of the Benger, we ink the Develop Your Brain. Yeah, I've put the X here for I think this is the misplay. I choose to throw down Agrabah with my 3 ink. I feel like what I should have done here is I should have had Grand Martala sing one of the Teeth and Ambitions, put the damage anywhere, but then the other 2 on Bell, and then I could have paid my last, well, I had 3 ink, and I could have used 2 ink to do it again, and just get the Bell off the field. So that was an option for me. I decided to go with this, because 1, they're not even questing for 5 with Bell yet. Plus, again, getting this location down means that I'm going to start that tempo race. So, not necessarily a misplay, but they're a strong argument that I could have gone the other way. But we quest up with Tyler, pass, they ink Cogsworth, and here comes the wheel. So, you could say punished, but our board isn't terrible. But they are able to, with this fresh hand, ink and Fishbone themselves up to 9. They throw down second Bell, ink Smash. Now they're at 10 ink, so they quest the first, taking them to 12, and pass over to me. There's a couple of ways I could have played this turn out as well, I seem to remember. We sing How Far I'll Go with Maui, which I could have used Maui to take out Bell, but I go down a different path. I take the Montanui because I know I can play Be Prepared this turn and then still play Montanui. Yeah, that's why I don't attack challenge, because I'm committed to the fact that I want to be prepared here, because I don't want them going to 17, which I now can't get rid of that ready Bell outside of Be Prepared, and I don't want them going to 17. Then they're so close to just being able to take it or take it. There's an argument that it would have been fine because I've got this Be Prepared, but if they wield me again, then I lose. Then I've already lost 2 Be Prepared, so I feel like this is probably safer. So we sing How Far I'll Go. I grab the Montanui. We quest up with Tala, and we just play the Be Prepared. Tala goes into the Inkwell. We ink Vault Door, and we throw down Montanui and pass over. So now we're getting 5 passive lore gain, and we're just 2 turns from game now. They ink a Cinderella, do an additional ink with Fishbone, throw down Tinkerbell. We gain 5 just for putting down, just for starting our turn. We extend the locations. Down comes the Nick Wild, grabs me a Porpsicle, ink the Fishbone, pass, and there's not a whole lot they can do. They smash the Nick Wild, then they Hades it into the Inkwell. They challenge the Agrabah. They can't even get that off the field, and they concede the game, and I believe they did not accept a rematch from me. So there you go, and that seemed like quite traditional Sapphire Steel Wheel we're up against there, and quite tidily handled. This is against Mufasa. You get more than 1 game from this one. So we go first here, get rid of that Be Prepared. I should have hypercut this, but we all make mistakes. Yeah, deliberating about what I want to remove here. Yeah, it takes me a while. Yeah, so there you see me throwing away the Maui, which probably would have been better to keep. But there you go. Find another Develop Your Brain, Agrabah, and Tala. We ink the Agrabah because I'm pretty committed that I'm playing Fishbone on 3. We Develop Your Brain. I do choose to grab the Tala instead of the Flavisham. I've already got a Flavisham, plus I've only got 1 item in my hand at the moment as it is. You could make an argument to have taken the Flavisham, but at the same time, I'd rather be inking the Grandma Tala, and I don't have a lot of ink in my hand, so that probably was the better decision. They ink a Rockstar, throw down a new dog. We ink Tala, throw down a Tala, and pass over. They ink a Stitch, throw down Simba Bodyguard to protect that dog, and pass back to us. We draw How Far I'll Go. We sing 1 jump ahead with Grandma Tala, and then we cast it. 1 jump ahead of the bread line, 1 swing ahead of the sword. They ink Maleficent, then they throw down Dark, and they quest away. Go up to 2, 3 lore, we draw an Agrabah. Throw down the Quill, and we quest with Tala. Then we do more exerting so we can ink more. Sorry, I'll stop. We pass, they ink a Queen of Hearts, quest with Doc, throw down their Mufasa. So already they are aggroing in front of me, which is exactly what Mufasa wants to do, creating a really nice board state. So it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. We draw a Develop Your Brain. I would love a Porpsicle. The things I would do for a Porpsicle, but it was not to be. We throw down Flavisham, get rid of our Quill. There is my ice cream for everybody. Quest up with Tala. Again, we want to put on questing pressure, and if they challenge me, then that's 1 less character they're questing with, and it's going to give me ink. They choose to challenge with the Mufasa as opposed to anything else. Quest with Doc, quest with Stitch, and quest with Simba, taking them to 11. We draw Montanui, we quest with Flavisham, throw away our Porpsicle, get How Far I'll Go and McDuck Manor. We throw down the Maui, who has to go into the Simba, unfortunately. Our Bodyguarder, we ink McDuck Manor, or do we not? No, we ink Agrabah. Yeah, because I'm high enough at this point in ink that I'd rather be playing the 1 more expensive location that's a lot bulkier and going to get me more lore. They trade with their Mufasa, and they do find Tremaine off the top, which is quite annoying, but that's Mufasa. It's what it do. They then shift onto their Rockstar Stitch, quest with Minnie, quest with Doc, quest with the Rockstar to 18, and it's just over, unfortunately. We didn't find enough. They found everything, and yeah, just showing you that this deck ain't always going to pop the way you want it to. Missing Porp, I feel like, hurt us, but that's the way it be. But they do accept a rematch, so we go into game 2. Going first this time, throw away the pieces we don't need. Develop Your Brain for the turn 1 search if I need it, and Tala's a great 2-drop. We do manage to find the ice cream this time, so we ink Develop Your Brain. Down goes the Porp, we draw a 1 jump ahead and pass over to them. They ink a Maui, hero to all, and they do not have a 1-drop. We ink Develop Your Brain. Down goes Grandma Tala and pass back. They ink a Surfer Stitch. Carefree Surfer, throw down a Mother Gothel, and pass back to us. We draw, we throw down a Porpsicle, Ink McDuck mana, and we're able to sing one jump ahead with Tala and throw down Montanui. So this is what we like to see. Also bear in mind, especially because I forget a couple of times in this video, most of your locations we don't care about being at them because we're not running characters that care about being at locations, but Montanui and RLS Legacy are the exception, because RLS Legacy gives evasive and Montanui means that if a character there is banished, then it goes to your Inkwell. We don't need to worry about putting Tala there because she's going to do that anyway, but with other characters, always bear in mind, if you've got the extra ink, move them to Montanui or RLS Legacy to get the additional advantage, because I do forget a couple of times. They throw down Doc, pass over to us, we get one lore gain from Montanui being down, throw down Flavisham to remove our Porpsicle, and now the deck is working like the machine it should. We ink McDuck mana, we move to Montanui, the Flavisham, again, there's no point moving Tala there, better to do it to Flavisham, and if he gets removed even while ready, then I'm going to get some more ink, more ink. They Rapunzel up the Gothel, challenge into Montanui, which, they give me a whoops here, so I'm not sure if they meant to go into Tala there. I'm assuming they were, although I think going into Montanui is probably better, so I'm not sure why they whoopsed. Or maybe it's because they missed Mufasa, but that's still a good move, turn 4 Rapunzel. So, not sure what the whoops was about for sure, but whatever. We quest with Flavisham, get rid of our Porp to draw some more cards. Down comes Maui to remove that Mother Gothel and survive so that he can take out other things. Quest up with Tala and pass over. Would have been nice to have an ink left there to move him to Montanui so that he became ink, but didn't have it. They go into the Tala taking her out. She becomes ink anyway. They've got to Mufasa down. And they give me another whoops. I'm really not sure what that was about, but if you think you know why they're whoopsing, let me know. We go into our turn. We throw down Fishbone Quill. We tilt it to get ourselves some extra ink. We tilt the Flavisham. We'll quest with him to remove that item and draw more cards. And now we've got nice big ink pool. We've got a nice big hand. We put down the RLS Legacy. I'm ahead of them like crazy. They throw down Maui and choose to double into the RLS Legacy, which was the right play, because you could argue you want to get rid of this Flavisham to get rid of my card draw, but I can put him at the RLS Legacy next turn, and then they won't be able to touch him. Bar whatever removal they might be running, which Mufasa isn't really running much of, other than maybe Teeth and Ambitions. Although some run Be Prepared, to be fair. But so yeah, they choose to double into the RLS Legacy, which does take it out, but I will absolutely take that. Like, that's them. The Maui's still on the field, but it still took like their whole turn, and Mufasa isn't questing. They probably should have quested with Rapunzel here, but oh no, they challenge into Montanui to do an extra damage. Pass to us, we get the Heart of Tefiti, and we do choose to pay its cost to ramp ourselves up some more. We need to pay 2 ink to do that, but value as far as I'm concerned. We quest with Flavisham, get rid of that heart, draw 2 more cards, finding us a Maui and another Be Prepared. We ink the Flavisham, throw down Agrabah, and pass. So we're just like constantly putting down these locations that they can't ignore because we're already at 9 lore, so they have to be answering them. They do one-shot the Agrabah, then they finish Montanui off of Rapunzel, and then Mufasa does a bit of chip onto Flavisham. Obviously, they wanted to get rid of that Montanui before taking him out because they don't want him to become ink. I think there was an argument to just getting rid of the Flavisham, but I am still gaining passive lore with Montanui, so an argument could be made. We choose to sing how far I'll go. I choose to take the Popsicle and ink the Grandma Tala, and then just a really easy, nice Be Prepared. Even with a Mufasa on board, that's still value. They managed to hit a dock off of it. We throw down Popsicle, get ourselves another draw. We find a Develop Your Brain, which we play straight away, and get ourselves another Maui, because Maui is like so good against Mufasa. They tilt their dock to pay 1 less for their Rockstar Stitch, who goes down. Inca Rapunzel, taking them up to 3, and down comes Minnie Mouse. So we just respond in time with another Be Prepared. We are over halfway through our deck at this point. We'll throw down Grandma Tala as a second drop, and then they once again throw down a Rockstar Stitch and a Queen of Hearts. Immediately exert that Queen of Hearts to get a card draw. No need to Be Prepared this field. We just throw down Maui, get rid of the Queen, throw down Agrabah, quest up with Tala. Yeah, I do consider if I want to heal up Maui here, but I'm quite happy if they want to trade with Stitch. That's more than fine with me. But they go into Tala, which makes her more ink. They throw down Tremaine. That gets rid of the Maui. And then I think this is greedy from them to extend this much. To be fair, no, it's not. They get another card draw. No, that's respectable. But we do have a third Be Prepared, which is a lot, all things granted, but it should be happening a lot of the time. Like, we're drawing well, we're taking cards off the top of the deck, and yes, that does come with the danger that you might get rid of your Be Prepareds with Heart of Defeaty and things like that. But yeah, we've drawn quite well, so I think it's good odds to see them, and they choose to concede, and they declined us our rematch. So we didn't get to find out who would have run the third, but an example of this deck both losing quickly to Mufasa and dealing with it quite capably. So going into another game, this is another Sapphire Steel deck, but differently, it's a different build, so I've chosen to still include it. Plus Sapphire Steel is a powerful combination, so let's see it, you know what I mean? Flaversham, Fishbone and Quill is what we keep. We are going first. We ink one of our Fishbones and pass Mr. One Drop, which sucks, but there you go. They ink a Porpsicle and play one of their own, drawing a card. Just doing the still recording check. We draw a Maui, we ink Montanui, I think. Yes, we do indeed ink Montanui. Throw down Grandma Tala, she can sing one jump ahead for us next turn. They throw down a Porpsicle to draw another card. Ink the Flaversham, pass to us. We draw Teeth and Ambitions. We do indeed sing the one jump ahead. Throw away the Teeth and Ambitions. I'm not expecting it to do a whole lot against Sapphire Steel. There'll be a couple of things that it would help against, but by and large, it's not what it's for. Throw down the Fishbone Quill. I choose not to immediately accelerate ink because I value all of these pieces way too much. There's an argument to have just inking the Be Prepared, even though I don't think that was right, but some people may have done that just to guarantee you get the immediate use of it, because then that gets me to 5 ink without having to, like, next turn I could draw an uninkable and I could really need to play Maui and then need to ink the Flaversham, which isn't a great position to be in, so an argument could be made, but we do what we do. Pass over to them, they ink the Grandma Tala, so this is showcasing that version of the deck. They throw down Mickey for a ramp from the top. We tilt our Fishbone Quill to throw a Flaversham, play our Flaversham to remove our Fishbone Quill. We do it that way because then we can still ink something. Quest Grandma Tala, I choose not to ink. I feel like I probably should have inked there. Yeah, I definitely should have inked. That was a miss, but I should have inked the McDuck Manor. No, to be fair though, actually, I think the reason I don't is because next turn I want to just be able to play them both. Yes, I would have to ink Maui or something else, but to be fair, I've got good reason to believe that, yeah, that was my thought trail. I've got every reason to believe that they're going to go into my Tala with Mickey and stop me questing with it. So I'm going to be at 6 ink, so in my head I can put both of them down next turn. So it was maybe a risk not inking there, but this deck ramps well anyway, and it just gives me such a strong turn 6. So no, I do think that was right. They do indeed choose to take out Tala with Mickey Mouse Detective. They ink Bada Bing Bada Boom, throw down Scrooge McDuck. So probably not the best version of the Tala deck. They are more trying to get items online, but again, I thought people might like to see that deck in action. They pass over to us. We draw the RLS Legacy, which we're able to put down instead of McDuck Manor and Montanui. I don't ink because, again, this Maui feels like a valuable piece, I guess, especially against Scrooge, and I can just play McDuck Manor if I don't play Maui. So they play down another Scrooge McDuck, do some inking, pass over to us. We draw a second Maui. We do play Maui here, and I am well aware that I am walking straight into activating this Scrooge McDuck ability, where if he challenges a character and banishes them, then you play an item for free. So in doing this, I am essentially letting them get this free drop from Scrooge McDuck, but I wasn't just going to sit there and let these Scrooge McDucks keep questing. I need to deal with them. I'd rather the lucky dime or whatever it is just go down and then just deal with it rather than just letting them keep questing. So we do choose to take out Scrooge McDuck. Miss is a misplay because I moved Flaversham to Montanui here, where I should have moved Maui to Montanui here. That was just a complete misplay. No excuses for it. It was the wrong move because Flaversham isn't getting removed. Again, Steel could do it, but Maui is 100% getting removed here, so I should have moved him there. So something for you to bear in mind yourself if you try this deck. They do indeed challenge into Maui with Scrooge, and they get the lucky dime on board. Loves to see it. They throw down a Porpsicle to draw another card. They remove it. Not sure why. With Flaversham. There you go. I thought they used the ability to get additional healing, but no, they draw with Flaversham. Well, they also throw down a Tala and pass to us. We draw the Fishbone Quill. We immediately throw it down. We does love an item. I choose not to accelerate ink. I don't really feel the need, but we double draw. We do choose to ink the Vault Door. Throw down McDuck Manor and pass. And just look at this passive lore that we're getting. There was no need to move Flavisham to the RLS Legacy. Their characters are not taking Flavisham out this turn. Maybe they could in conjunction with Smash and stuff, but then that's using up their resources, and if it's Smash, then... Well, I didn't do it. Let's not get too much into it, but they are able to take out my Flavisham after shifting their Grandma Tala and challenging. So I was wrong, they were able to take it out. But still, I think more important is just to get these locations down and just push for an aggressive lore gain. So it goes into our turn, and look at this lore just going up, up, up. This is a misplay, or is it? I choose to go into... Yeah, I actually missed her will. I'll be completely honest, I missed the willpower. I wasn't paying enough attention. It was my first time coming up against her. I forgot that she's got 8, and I didn't even look. I was just like, Maui deals with everything, right? Challenge. So that was a mistake on my half, not checking, but not necessarily a mistake long term, because she got to go anyway, so she's got to be challenged. There's an argument, a really strong argument, for me to have having taken out Flavisham, because if they want to remove the lucky dime to draw, then that's not value, but they're still drawing, and they can put down a different item. So there's a strong argument that I should have taken out Flavisham there instead, because I got another Maui in my hand, so next turn I can still play down the second Maui and double into Grandma Tala. But full transparency, I was not expecting her to survive that. But we have enough ink to immediately move Maui to RLS Legacy. So they are not able to challenge him, but they play Along Came Zeus to put 5 damage on the Legacy. They then challenge him with Tala to finish it off, and then they're able to trade with Mickey. But that was still pretty good value as far as I'm concerned. Like, that took up resources for them. So RLS Legacy, one of the best locations, 100%. They throw down a Bell, ink Audrey Ramirez, gain 1 lore just because they ink, so Grandma Tala's ability will prop, and they tilt the lucky dime to get an additional lore boost from Grandma Tala. So they're doing the things they want to do. They got Bell on the field. Pass over to us. We got up to 16 with our lore gain, and just be prepared. And from this point, it's just pretty much over. We've got 3 lore gain on board. They choose to play Friend Like Me. We got up to 19. I just throw it on the Legacy, pass to them. They play out their hand. We give them the well played. They do not return it, but they do accept our rematch. So I feel that my friend was not happy to have lost the location deck, but we'll see. So going into game 2, we get rid of all these pieces that we don't want to see. Argument that I should have kept the Develop Your Brain, but we find another one anyway. Pass over to them. They throw down Portugal, draw a card. We draw the Legacy, ink the McDuck Manor, play the Developed Brain, find ourselves a Portugal. Pass over to them. They ink Audrey Ramirez. We throw down McDuck Manor and throw down Montanui so that we can start getting that sweet, juicy, passive lore gain. They ink Smash, throw down their Fishbone Quill. They do not tilt it for additional lore. We gain 1 from Montanui. We ink Maui, which is sus. Not sure why I did that, but we'll push on because this video is probably going to overrun. We throw down Portugal and Grandma Tala. I think because I got the Be Prepared and I've got Flavishams to draw more. They throw a Flavisham of their own, get rid of their Portugal to draw 2. Doing port things. They tilt the Fishbone Quill for some additional ramp. Pass to us. We draw Montanui, which goes straight into the Inkwell. We now throw down the Flavisham so that we can get going ourselves. Throw away the Portugal. We get Agrabah and another Porp. We quest with Tala and pass over. And still Montanui just sitting here gaining lore for nothing. They ink and they're able to get a really early Grandma Tala online. So I know I need to build to this Be Prepared in my hand, because it's my only way of dealing with it at the moment. So we play Porpsicle. We find ourselves a launch. We tilt the Flavisham, get rid of the Porpsicle, draw a couple more cards, Tala and Nick Wild. We throw down the Fishbone Quill, ink ourselves up to 5, quest up, ink the Tala. Yep, and now we're on board for a Be Prepared next turn, which sounds good to me, but we do move both our characters to Montanui. Didn't need to move Grandma there, but Flavisham certainly benefits from it. They play Along Came Zeus, they got rid of Montanui, and they extend with Belle and Mickey, getting additional ramp, and Tala giving it a lore bump. We draw another Be Prepared. Nick Wild goes into the Inkwell. We tilt the Fishbone Quill to get some additional ramp. We quest with Flavisham to get some additional draw, removing the Quill. We quest with Tala and Be Prepared. I know, some of you are judging, but it's a card. Be Prepared is indeed a card, and it is putting in work here. Down comes Nick Wilde to get ourselves another Porpsicle along with the RLS Legacy. Pass over to them. They got the Scrooge McDuck down prior turn. They play Porpsicle to draw. Throw down Tinkerbell. Does have 1 sprinkle damage to Nick Wilde. They quest with Scrooge. We got up to 10 passive because of RLS Legacy. Down comes Maui. We go into McDuck. We move Nick Wilde to RLS Legacy and pass. The reason I do it this way is because if I moved Maui to the RLS Legacy and not Nick Wilde, to be fair, it's still a misplay because I could have moved them both. My thought trail was, at the time, was like, oh, it's more important to get Nick Wilde at RLS Legacy because they can challenge Maui, banish him, and then the 2 sprinkle damage on Nick Wilde won't take him out. Whereas if I do it the other way round and let them challenge Nick Wilde, then they would have taken him out and then the 2 sprinkle would have taken out Maui. So here I was thinking I was being really smart and sequencing this correctly when I could have actually just paid 1 more to move Maui to the RLS Legacy as well. So do as I say, not as I do. That is my rule of villainy. Of all the rules of villainy, that is mine. Do as I say, not as I do. So we misplay, but point it out. Hopefully you won't make the same mistake. They trade with Tink. They do their 2 sprinkle, but it's not enough. But it is enough alongside the big Tink that they put down as a follow-up. We got to 14 lore because RLS Legacy just doing chip things. We throw down Flavisham, removes our Porp. We throw down a second RLS Legacy. We ink Teeth and Ambitions, throw down another Montanui, and I hope you are starting to see my point that this is just overwhelming them with locations. Now, not every deck is going to have this problem, but this one certainly is. They play Friend Like Me just for the lols, and we take game. So there you go. I'm going to go straight on because this video is definitely overrunning, but I want to show you this game. Up against Steel Amber. So, our opening hand, we throw everything except the 1 jump ahead. I want to find those 1-drops, etc. But yeah, I'm expecting Steel Amber Songs. They go first. They ink Piglet, which I think is one of the most underrated cards of this format, for what it's worth. I keep pointing a pen at you. I don't know why. Pass over. We draw Develop Your Brain, which we ink so that we can play down our Ice Cream. Pass over to them. They ink Miss Bianca and throw down Sleepy's Flute. So we're up against a meta deck. We sing 1 jump ahead to ramp ourselves even more past to them. They ink and throw down Ariel, who finds them, and then along came Zeus. They don't tilt their flute because they haven't sung a song this term. We ink Heart of Tefiti. We hard sing Pay for How Far I'll Go. I've been avoiding saying casting because that's a Magic the Gathering thing, right? I've never played it, Magic the Gathering, so bear that in mind, but I'm pretty sure that's a Magic the Gathering thing to cast it, like when you pay for it. And I've been avoiding that because I know that Ravensburger won their own terminologies, but I feel like casting still works for this because in Lore of Lorcana, we have ink casters. That's what they're called, the items, right? That the Illuminatiers have. So I feel like casting is fair. So I'm going to start trying to get into... I've been trying to resist saying casting, but I feel like it's fine. Anyway, tangent over. It is their turn. They throw down a second aerial, who finds them another song, Bare Necessities, which they sing with their first aerial, which is going to let them tilt their flute in a minute. They throw away our Porpsicle, which is perfectly reasonable. It's what you'd want to get rid of. Tilt their flute for 1 lore gain. Pass to us. We're able to throw down Maui, take out one of the aerials. We ink the Agrabah. I'm expecting a wheel in their hand. They ink Simba, throw down a second flute, and along came Zeus, our Maui, meaning they can tilt both of their flutes for more lore gain. And then they throw down Piglet. Pass over to us. We draw and throw down Flavisham, remove the Porpsicle for the draw. We throw down Montanui. We ink an additional Montanui. Move our Flavisham to Montanui so that we can gain lore if he is removed, and pass over to them. They draw, they play Let the Storm Rage On, doing their 2 chip damage and letting them tilt their flutes for additional lore, and they throw down a second Piglet, and of course because they've got 3 characters on their board, that middle Piglet quest for 3. Pass back to us, it's not looking great. We draw Teeth and Ambitions. We throw down Nick Wilde, recycles one of our Porpsicles, we play the Porpsicle, draw ourselves a card. We quest with Flavisham, get rid of that Porp to draw some more cards, and then we... I hope I play the Teeth and Ambitions, because I definitely should. Yeah. So we hard pay for Teeth and Ambitions, which was fine. There was no point singing it. I couldn't anyway. His ink isn't dry. So, but even if it wasn't, we don't have a Montanui or another 2-drop in hand. We pass over to them. They ink the Rockstar Stitch. Down comes the Grab Your Swords. That gets rid of Nick Wilde and more chip onto Flavisham. They get to tilt their flute 2 more times and quest with Piglet, but only for 1 because there's only 2 characters on their board. And they pass over to us. We draw a Fishbone Quill. We play the Fishbone Quill that was already in our hand. Tilt it to throw away How Far I'll Go. We quest with Flavisham, throw away the Fishbone, draw a Be Prepared and Develop Your Brain. I throw down the RLS Legacy and the Develop Your Brain. Find myself a Grandma Tala, who doesn't get inked. I could have played Be Prepared there, but the Piglet, even if they throw down a 3rd character, it's questing for 3, then 4 from the aerial, and then they could potentially get another 2 if they're able to sing a song. So they could have gone up to 17 lore, but I would prefer them to just extend and then be able to wipe out all their resources. But because I've got the second Be Prepared, there's a really strong argument that I should have just Be Prepared there, especially because it makes a wheel from them harder to accomplish. So there's a strong argument that I should have just played Be Prepared there, but I chose to be patient. They choose to play out Miss Bianca, who does get Piglet up to those 3 lore that he needs. They sing Grab Your Swords with Ariel, that gets rid of our Flavisham. They're able to tilt their flutes up to 16, along with the questing from Piglet. So look at this, they have gone zoomed ahead of me, but look at my hand. I've got 2 locations on board. I've got a beautiful Be Prepared just sitting here waiting to play, and we just wipe them. Even 1 song off the top is only going to get them to 18. It's still a race. I'm not convinced I can win it, but there's a chance now at least. I throw down Montanui and pass. So I have 4 lore gain on my board at a time. So I'm still a couple of turns away, but they're topping. This is not sped up. This is real time. You do want to play the Whole New World in your hand. Got it. Received. BM from me. Don't care. So yeah, they top a Whole New World. They're able to tilt both their flutes. And of course, they are going to have found another song in those cards. We take our turn, but I know there's nothing. I extend out all of this. Because at this point now, that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 lore gain at the beginning of next turn. So it's still not enough. I wasn't 1 turn from game, but I was so close, and they play another wheel just for good measure. And they then refuse my rematch. I was fuming, mate. Absolutely fuming. They knew they couldn't handle the smoke. They knew they were about to be turned into content. And they became content anyway. I am going to leave it there. There was another, best of 3 to show you. But this video will end up being way too long because we're nearly at the hour mark, even though I'm sure I can probably cut about 10 minutes off of that. If you would like to see another full match of this deck, against Jafar, because that is the last deck that I've got. It's Amethyst Sapphire Jafar, so it's quite an interesting build and quite a good game. But I'm going to leave it there. But if you really want to see that game, I mean, 70 likes. I tend to average 50 to 100. So if this video gets 70 likes, then I'll upload just that 2 out of 3 match. So if you really want that, hit the like button for your boy. But we're going to leave it there. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this deck. You could definitely make some changes. Vault Door hasn't put in a lot of work. That's probably my first cut. Launch hasn't put in any work, but I feel like it's needed for things like Beasts and Jafars that just gotta go. Heart of Tefiti could reasonably be a cut as well. You might want to move to more characters. I feel like that kind of kills the point of this deck. It's just location domination is what Pascal originally named it. And once again, shout out to Pascal for creating this deck originally. If you are out there and you are watching, then leave a comment down below and I will plug you, I will pin you, I will give all the credits in the world. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.